Alrighty, it's been a while, but now we have this shirt, and I think it's going to look really good with a skirt to go with it. So I figured I would, oh come on, this ain't working out for me. Just make it go this way now. Even though it's not going the other way. This is opposite of this one, but I don't think it's really going to matter. Do you think you're going to take over what I'm doing, Mama Cat? Yes, you do. Mama Cat's taking that over. So, this right here is long enough, and I'll probably have to hem it. And so, okay, you're making this hard on me. You make my skirt, and you take it over my material. I don't need that. I want this, so that I can make my skirt. I've got 2 yards here, and what I'm going to get is I'm going to take and open it all the way. Yeah. I'm gonna see how long it's gonna be. Yeah, that's long enough. Alright, let's make sure we got, yeah, it's good enough for me. Alright, now I'm going to open it up. And I'll be back in a minute.
He says, on the other hand, if he understood that P Nazis had escaped to Antarctica, beat back American forces sent to capture them in Operation High Jump, which is Admiral Byrd and his expedition to Antarctica, for any of you that don't know, for our new listeners, and were in the process of running a shadow government, then it isn't too hard to imagine him being killed to silence him. There's Forrestal, and this is the message. There will be anyone that tries to come against these people in a serious way.
So get this, David. I just did a little quick research into the death of Forrestal. I want to make sure that the where his actual cause of death, right? So they say it's suicide, they say it's depression, all that good stuff, right? But here's where it comes down to. You're going to love this one, David. So we did the Back to the Future Decoded, the whole 88 miles per hour imagery, they go down the 88 mile narrative. I don't get into geometry. I don't get into it. I look at it just for research purposes. But David, everybody that's watching this program tonight, Mr. Forrestal jumped from a 16th floor. And there you go. You have your 8 plus 8. So there's 16. And there, I thought it was 20, but it's the 16th floor. He jumped and he fell to his death, David. So what do you say about that?
Yeah, these things, you can believe, well, this is all just a coincidence. Well, no, it's not. It's not a coincidence. It's a message, and it's a message being sent from the elites. And when you look at the people that produce these movies, they're the elite of the elite. They really are. They're the insiders. This is not just predictive programming, but this is a threat. This is a prophecy of doom on anyone that would get too all about their little selves to stop these people. And why did they have to take James Forrestal out? And this just goes down the rabbit hole a little deeper. I want to read from a book entitled The Red Fog Over America. And this is by William Guy Carr. And on page 204, Mr. Carr unpacks the relationship between Mr. Forrestal and the financing of Adolf Hitler. Now, I'll read just a little bit. It says, in a new war, of course, Dillon Reed put up 25 million for the Evangernat Stahlwerke of the Ruhr financing Thyssen and Hitler. James Forrestal was a partner of the firm at this time. $25 million.
Alrighty, I know I cut the ends off my pockets, but we're going to put them on here. I'm just going to put my hands in them anyway. I want to go 2 inches down, and I'm going to lay this one on this side, like that. They're just more for show and tell anyway.
Went from the firm that Mr. Forrestal was a partner on directly to Adolf Hitler. They had it set up. And it's hard to even catch them. They're so good at moving their money around and laundering it. But there was a bank in the Netherlands where Fritz Thyssen, the major financer of Adolf Hitler, he controlled what was called the Union banking system. And this was made up of Bernard Baruch and also of Brown brother Harriman, which we're going to tell you about in just a minute, because this is going to bring some other very important people into the picture here. Going on, it says the evidence is that Forrestal was not pure or suddenly discovered the sinister web of international intrigue. He could not possibly have functioned without knowing Baruch's secret operations. What seems to have happened was his failure of nerve. He began to become, the reason for his depression is that he realized that he was involved firsthand with the financing of Adolf Hitler through the very firm that he was a member of. It says he became weak, depressed, and was taken to Florida by Brown Brothers Harriman's partner, Robert Lovett, who succeeded him as Secretary of Defense. Now, this is huge. Now, here we got Mr. Forrestal. He's a partner of the firm, sending millions to Adolf Hitler. So now he all of a sudden becomes depressed. The guy that drives him to get help is this fellow, Robert Lovett. Now, he was Secretary of Defense at the time. Robert Lovett becomes the new Secretary of Defense. Now, he is a board member. Robert Lovett, he replaces Forrestal as Secretary of Defense, and he's on Brown Brothers Harriman. Now, why does that ring a bell? Well, let me show you. I'm going to refer to a book that Don and I wrote. Yes, that's right. And this is our book called The Great Seal of the United States. It's the first book that we ever wrote. And in this book, we expose the role of Brown Brothers Harriman in the financing of Adolf Hitler. And we also tied it directly to the secret society of Skull and Bones. Now, this was the job here of Skull and Bones.
Alrighty. So, I made mistakes and I fixed them. And I've got all kinds of strings. I can't get rid of them. You see me cut them and I still got them. Anyway, we are going to take one side. To get this right. Alright, and we're going to turn it up. Oh, first I want to do my pockets. That would be smart to do my pockets first. Alright. I just want enough to put my hand in here. So, let's see. We've got one down to 5 inches. So, I'm going to take 5 inches right there. to right here. And I'm going to sew it down.
They had the people placed in the right places in the banking industry to be able to funnel and launder money straight to Adolf Hitler. Now, it's just an absolute fact. Now, I'll just read a little bit from our book here. It says that in another massive coincidence, we find out that the bank in Rotterdam that was used by Thyssen to obtain funds for Adolf Hitler, this controlled the Union Banking Corporation in New York, which was loaded with skull and bones men. Anthony Sutton's book, America's Secret Establishment, provides the documentation. The Harrimans had a financial interest in the order. The Union Banking Corporation of New York City was a joint Thyssen-Harriman operation. So it was literally a Brown Brothers Harriman and Fritz Thyssen, the major financer of Hitler. They were joined at the hip. And so were these other firms, like the one with Bernard Baruch. There was an intent here of the international bankers to finance and create.
Alrighty, it don't matter which side, but we're going to want to turn it upside down. Look at the string, I'm telling you. And now, even though we don't have to put a hem on it and all, we're still going to put a hem on it because we're going to sew one side down all the way. Just one side.
Adolf Hitler. Now, what we don't want to miss is that on the board of Brown Brothers Harriman was Prescott Sheldon Bush. He was the father of George Bush Sr., the grandfather of George W. Bush. The Bushes deeply, even down to George. And this is a generational thing. Prescott, George Sr., George W., skull and bones to the bone. And even at the time, skull and bones man George Bush was running against skull and bones man John Kerry. Well, who do we vote for? Yeah, let's vote for the good guy. And that's just exactly where we're at now. And this is how secret societies operate. They place their key men in key positions, and they are literally able to manipulate and move millions of dollars. They can create revolutions. They can create leaders that they own lock, stock, and barrel. That's the way they operated then, and that's the way they still operate.
Alrighty, now we are going to lay this right here flat. I think what I'm going to do is fold this.
But absolutely, the Bush family, for generations, they are directly linked to the financing of Adolf Hitler. It's a fact. And Mr. Forrestal got a little sick to the gut with it. You know, when you realize that these men, it's still going on right now. Poor boys are sent to fight the rich man's war.
Well, the air conditioner's missing shit and stuff.
How the hell is it missing stuff?
I don't know. I'm going up there to see what he's talking about. That air conditioner did not look like it had ever been opened.
Yeah.
But we're not going back to fucking Walmart tonight.
No, it's too dark for me to drive. They should have thought about this shit earlier.
They probably done lost shit to it.
Yeah.
Is it the first thing in the morning before we go back to Walmart?
Alright, this right here is 8 inches. So I'm going to want this one 8 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. And that's what we got left. Alright. So, I want to sew these down and put this one on one side of it.
The poor boys are sent to bleed and die for the greed and the control games that the multi-international bankers try to cook up. And that's the way it was then, and that's the way it is now. So there's an unmistakable message here about where's Forstall.
Right. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to start with that piece right there. I think I can do this better in the kitchen. Alright, let's see what we've got. Turn. Oh, let me show you this. Mama cat again. Ain't that cute? Oh, she likes that weed eater, don't she? Alright. Now, let's just throw this to the side. Let's lay this out. And I'm going to want to lay it pretty sides up. Pretty side up. Alright, come on now. Well, at least y'all come in handy other than diabetes. Alright, I'm going to put this one right here, pretty side down. About even with it. Alrighty, if we notice we've got lots here. This is what I want to leave exactly like it is. Now this right here, we need to put it down. So let me go get my thing. Alrighty. Alright, so I'm going to take this down. And now we have two little strips here. So we're going to play with them first, both sides. Alright. Now if we look, we have a strip in the middle. So I'm going to, let's see, this right here is, I can't tell, 1.5. Let's go down to 1. And we're going to take this one and go it sideways like that. Come on. And then this one the other way.
I was muted. It's kind of interesting that the whole Forstall thing is tied to the UFO phenomenon, right? And his whole connection with all that. So, and it kind of the correlation with modern time as far as fast forward to 2024, the whole Trump involvement. You know, I keep hearing that Trump is scared to talk about it. He's been briefed on certain things when it comes to the UFO phenomenon, the UAP, and there's like the gentleman that keeps coming out. There's a journalist that keeps coming out and saying that there's information that he's not supposed to disclose because he's scared for his life. Well, it seems like to me, with this Forstall thing, it seems like there's a connection that goes way back. And then, you know, if you get into the Tesla, Nikola Tesla died, 1943, 6 years before this event in Forstall. So there's a connection here with this whole CIA. And if you collaborate the data, it seems like they're on a power trip. And then you have the Bushes, like you just spoke of, It seems like Nikola Tesla had a big part in the UFO and all these other things. What do you say, David? There's a tie there, and there's connections that, to me, are very compelling. What do you say, David?
All right, now we have that. Thank God. Now let's get our elastic ready to go to. So all I'm going to do is just take it and go around it, and I'm going to cut it. Alright, now we're going to go into the bedroom.
I say absolutely. And I say, I love every chance to get to say it, that Einstein's physics is physics for stupid people. And that's what they're going to teach people in school. And when they find someone they think's bright enough to be a help to them, they'll tell them what's really going on. And the principles by which these super exotic weapons were created, I mean, the Germans were working on stuff that was mind-blowing. You know, we've done midnight rides on the Bell and some of the amazing technology that they had. And they were just literally, these weapons were so powerful that if with just a few more months here in the window, no one could have stopped the Germans. And that's the thing now, that they could have weapons that are so advanced, like a lot of this stuff you see, oh, it's the aliens. Well, no, it's Eric and Siegfried. That's who it is. And this whole thing that with these sophisticated weapons, that this international, they really can control the balance of power in the world and literally run things and call the shots through people they have placed in significant places in banking and in politics. They're able to get the job done, and that's exactly what we're looking at here.
Another thing, too, to point out, David, you know, the Philadelphia experiment, I think with all the Navy applications, I really do truly think that they was testing these destroyer ships. And I could go on a big rant about that, but that's for another program, another broadcast down the road. But these destroyer ships had technology about them. And we know in 1944, 1945 with the Philadelphia experiment, and that directly ties back to Tesla, too. So they was either mapping out and testing the information, you know, somehow communicating back and forth. This whole thing ties back to the Germans, the Antarctica Treaty. Something stinks, David, and I think it all is compiled together. And I think Admiral Byrd account and these other people that have came out later on, that you can go back and look at the documents, it's pretty profound that here we are in the UFO narrative, and this Forrester gentleman, he got the bad end of the deal, didn't he, Brother David?
Alrighty, I'm working on this. I had to stop. And when I stopped, I put this on the bottom and not the top where the pockets are. So I'm having to redo it. Where is the pockets at? Did I do this wrong? Yeah, right here. Right here is the pockets. And now I have to redo. Me and Rick done took it apart, and I'm gonna have to redo it. So I'm gonna start my video all over right here. Alrighty, unfortunately, I redid it and was gonna start another video, but it disappeared on me. I don't know what. It was 18 minutes long without the skirt being on me. But here is what the skirt looks like, and I do like it. Ooh, let me turn my iron off. Oh, so I'm not. Yeah, I don't need it on. Oh no! Thought I'd melt the corner of my thing, but it ain't. Thank God. All right, but here, this is, and here is the shirt. Alright, I don't know what it looks like. I won't know what it looks like until I look at the video. But this right here works out pretty good. I hate it that I don't have the video. But this skirt is worth $1 million from what I went through. The neighbors wanted us to take them to go get an air conditioner. And I had to stop right in the middle of it. And that messed me up there. It's not going to happen again. I hope it looks good. I think maybe the shirt may end up being too long. But I like the way the skirt is right at my foot. Right at my ankle foot. So, I'm going to call it quits here. I'll see you all later. I gotta come back on and tell you, Rick said it looks like a squall. I ain't seen it yet. But he says I look like an Indian squaw.